Goodness gracious. For those of you who are just listening for the first time, I am a student of Texas A&M University. So I did indeed watch this game. Oh, I watched this
The
game.
fighting Texas Aggies.
I watched this play every snap. And gosh, I could sound off at a lot of things. But look, if you listen to our preview, right? And I talked about all the talent we had on our team, right? And if you've ever seen me on Twitter, right? Or if you've ever had a conversation with me, the biggest question mark that I've always had about this team was DJ Durkin and that defense. That's the biggest question. I said that after the Appalachian State game last year, and everyone was like, well, it's the offense. Well, yes, it can be both, right? It can be both. This defense was horrendous yesterday in all phases. The defensive line, I get it. They have a very, very good offensive line. I would say 3 of those guys are probably NFL guys, maybe 4. How is it that Miami, Ohio can get more pressure on Tyler Van Dyke than this defensive line? Where's the creativity, right? You started on a 4-man front, right? And you did okay. Stopped the run pretty decently. Then why did you move to a 3-man front? But then, okay, then he moved back, and then it was like it was too late at that point, right? Then all of a sudden the secondary is getting torched, right? And it's like, what happened to the secondary last year? I don't know, because it's almost the same secondary, right? It's like the only people you lost was Jalen Jones and Antonio Johnson, which are big losses. It's like I'm also confused, like what he's doing with Bryce Anderson. Like, is he putting him in nickel? Is he putting him at safety? Like, what does he want to do with them, right? Like, he's your best tackle on your defense because apparently no one wants to tackle on this defense, right? So what do we want to do? What do we want to do with him? It feels like he doesn't even know what he wants to do with him, right? This is just not good. This is not good. Texas A&M ran the ball effectively in the first half, which I was excited about, and then they were not able to in the second half, or when they needed to. 3rd and 1s, 2nd and 1s, negative plays. Big fumble late as well, also hurt them. Kickoff return touchdown. We don't need to talk about that. Credit to Tyler Van Dyke. Credit to the Miami team. They played very, very well. Those safeties, also shout out Cam Kinchens. He left that game with a serious injury, off on a stretcher. I hope he's doing all right. I haven't checked on his status or update anything. So if anyone knows anything about that, let me know. But it was not good. The only good thing, right? And the thing is like in everyone's brain, right? It was like the offensive line and quarterback. Those are the 2 things that we need. Those are 2 things that we need. And honestly, well, guess what? That guy right there, number 15, that is the best quarterback in the SEC. He is. He is the best quarterback in the SEC. The things that he was doing, the throws, I get it pre-snap, right? Maybe he wasn't making those adjustments pre-snap, and they were just corner blitzing, right? And Connor didn't really know what to do. He's only had 6 starts, right? He's not experienced enough to like create that slide protection, right? Keep that running back in the backfield. Also, I'll say the running backs did not do a fantastic job blocking either. But like, he was fantastic. He was unbelievable. 33 points should be enough to win you any game. And it doesn't matter who you're playing against with this defense. It should not matter. It should not matter. One bright spot I liked on defense, I thought Torian York played pretty well. True freshman linebacker. Early in the game, he was getting in on tackles. McKinley Jackson, of course, was a bright spot on the defensive line. But in general, the defense was horrendous. 48 points is a fireable offense with this kind of talent. Doesn't matter who it is, but this was Miami, Florida. This is not USC. It's not Ohio State. Well, Texas, I guess, comparatively put up a ton of points. And we knew that, but geez, this was not good. And it sounds like I'm not giving Miami any credit. I should be giving them more credit. Their offensive line is really good. And we talked about it. We said right here on this show, this was probably the best offensive line in the ACC. And they proved that yesterday for sure. Henry Parrish is a pretty good running back. Xavier Restrepo was awesome. He was awesome in the slot.
He's a really good player.
Really good player. I think they really missed him last year when he went down, when he got hurt. And these corners were physical with our receivers. They're physical. Evan Stewart, while he had a pretty decent game, I think there were times when he dropped balls. Like I don't know. It looked like we were getting out physical there. So which shouldn't be happening. Noah Thomas leaving for an extended period of time. Yeah, it was a little rough. I don't know. I don't know. It was bad. It was bad, man. But the craziest thing is though is like A&M could still win the SEC West, which is wild to think about. It's really wild because they match up pretty decent with Alabama. Alabama doesn't have a quarterback. LSU, they match up. They match up well with Alabama and they match up well with LSU. How about that? Who would have thought? Team that just got blown up by 15 by Miami, Florida. They match up well with LSU and Alabama. The question is like, can they sneak by Ole Miss, Mississippi State at home? I don't know. I don't know, man. So Miami is the team to watch out for in the Coastal right now, with along with Duke over there. That's gonna be. I mean, you could talk North Carolina and the Coastal, but I think Miami, Duke, those are the two teams that have proven that they might be some wagons here.
Yeah, I think obviously we've known A&M has a top end talent. It's the down consistency that's the frustrating part. And you saw it in flashes in the game. You saw Walter Nolan, take over plays and just dominate whoever was in front of him and make a nice play. You saw obviously Connor Wigman and Evan Stewart playing very well. The frustrating part is how did this even happen in a game where if I told you, right, going into this, Matthew, if I said you're gonna have a block punt that lets you up for a touchdown and then a muff punt, right, where you get the ball like 2 possessions like inside the red zone right away. You should have blown this team out in the first half, and it didn't happen. You let them stick around. Credit to Miami and Mark Cristobal for crawling their way back in, and then the dam gates kind of opened in the second half or in the last 3 quarters with Miami's offense, and they just shredded the secondary of Texas A&M. But Moose Muhammad having 1 catch, I get it. There's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense, but I think I think he is so good in the slot. And you saw Miami, use Xavier Restrepo and other players. And yes, I trust Bobby Petrino, and it's not his fault. I don't think they put up 33 points, right? It was the defense, and they were playing catch up in the second half. And Wickman played fantastic, and the O-line battled some injuries. But yeah, I think in terms of winning the SEC West, absolutely. I mean, nobody else in the SEC West has proven me anything that they're better than A&M or better than Alabama or LSU or whoever else. I don't think anybody's looked very good this year at all, especially in week 2. The problem is down-to-down consistency, game-to-game consistency. Yeah, A&M could beat LSU and Bama, and they could probably still not win the SEC West. But they lose to Mississippi schools, they lose to Arkansas and Auburn. Like, that's been the whole theme with A&M this year in the past couple of years, is consistency and bringing all this talent together. And I'm with you here. DJ Durkin is the problem. Something is wrong defensively because it looks like a bunch of really, really talented individuals making fantastic plays every once in a while. And then just 60% of the time, there's blown coverages, missed assignments, and people put in bad spots and whatever it is. Like, I don't know. And again, like, Miami was the more physical team. Like you said, they were more physical than A&M was. And in year 2 in Mark Cristobal, I get it. You were expecting a big jump. I think the talent Miami has is underrated. I think there was pretty damn talented team on the field there, offensively and defensively. But for the physicality, that's another frustrating part if you're an A&M fan as well. It's like, again, like, you got missed tackles on big plays or a big 3rd and 8, and right, they get a touchdown, a fucking 64-yard touchdown because they, a missed assignment, a nice throw, and a missed tackle, and then you could have gotten the ball back with 3 minutes to go, a chance to tie the game, and instead you're down 15. So, I don't know. I think, again, you found your quarterback, you found your offensive play caller. Like, those, in our opinions, we didn't have question marks there. The national media did, obviously, but it's a defense. It's down-to-down consistency from the O-line. It's getting your running backs involved all 4 quarters of the game. And I'm looking ahead. We'll see. I think Jimbo's seat gets a lot hotter. Absolutely. I think he made a good decision to change coordinators on offense, and he did not make a good decision to not change coordinators on defense. I think they need to fix it. defensively. And to be honest, I don't trust the staff right now to do it. So that's the disappointing part is you're going to waste a very talented team this year with that defense coaching staff.
Yep. Mario Cristobal got his hires right.
Yeah, and guess what? He pivoted after year one. He hired two flashy names. I'll call him flashy because it was Josh Gaddis, who was the reigning Broyles offense coordinator award winner, whatever, from Michigan and Bama before that, and Kevin Steele, who was very, very talented, has a huge resume. Maybe he's 10 years ago, he's a really good coach, but right now in today's college football, he's not. And we saw that kind of yesterday with Alabama and Texas, although I think I'm a little bit higher on Texas's offense than I am lower on Alabama's defense. I think it's a little bit of that in today's college football. But this year he pivoted to two, like Shannon Dawson and Lance Guidry, and both of them outplayed Texas A&M coaching staff. And credit to Mario Cristobal. Absolutely. And everyone was kind of making fun of, Miami's home atmosphere. I thought it was pretty darn loud. It sounded pretty loud on the broadcast. So I'm not gonna lie. I think it's good to see, Miami's, the atmosphere around Miami, pretty excited again, because college football is better when Miami, Florida State, Texas, USC, Michigan, Notre Dame, these are all teams that are competing and playing well right now, which is awesome to see. College football is better and deeper when that is happening.